Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're diving into, well, it's a political controversy that's got everyone talking in Jamaica.
Yeah, accusations of nepotism, corruption, the whole nine yards. And it's hitting right at the Ministry of Culture.
You got it, and we've got this stack of articles and reports here, so we're ready to unpack it all, figure out what's really going on.
And what we've got here is a fascinating case study. It really is. I mean, it's not just about one minister, one event, right? It gets into, these broader issues, transparency, public trust.
It makes you wonder, right, how can something as positive as celebrating your cultural heritage get caught up in this kind of mess?
Exactly.
Okay, so let's lay it out for everyone listening, okay? So it's September 2024.
Okay.
Jamaica is getting ready for their big Emancipation and Heritage Week celebrations. Think parades, music, the whole shebang.
Straight. Huge deal.
Huge deal. And then bam, former Culture Minister Lisa Hanna, she drops this bombshell. She comes out and says, hey, there's some serious financial mismanagement going on.
And she points the finger right at the current Minister of Culture, Olivia Babsy Grange.
So right off the bat, it's a big deal.
Oh, absolutely. And to be clear, she doesn't take this vague accusation, Hannah, she gets specific. She's talking about a massive budget increase for these celebrations.
Okay, so how massive are we talking?
Well, hold on to your hats because it jumps from 191 million Jamaican dollars to a staggering 440 million.
Whoa.
Yeah, more than double. So natural people are going to start asking questions.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And I bet those questions are going to lead right to where that money's going, right?
Exactly.
So what is Hanna saying? Spill the tea.
So she's suggesting that instead of this money going to, the usual government agencies, places like the Jamaica Cultural Development Commission.
That's the JCDC, right?
Right, the JCDC. She's saying it's being funneled to these private companies instead.
Okay, so red flag number one, right?
Well, it gets even more interesting.
Yeah.
She then implies that some of these private companies, they've got these close ties to the ministry itself.
Oh, so now we're talking potential favoritism. Possible misuse of public funds.
Exactly.
It's starting to sound kind of shady.
Well, and then to really drive her point home, she brings up a specific example, the 2016 Grand Gala.
Big cultural event, right?
Yeah.
Part of Heritage Week.
Right, massive. And Hannah, she claims that they brought in this outside group to manage it when, the JCDC, they could have handled it. They've done it before.
Yeah, that does make you wonder, what was the thinking there?
It's a great question, and it gets to the heart of this issue of trust. If the JCDC, this organization with its history, its expertise, if they're being overlooked, well, it just raises all sorts of red flags.
Yeah, it definitely makes you question the motivations, right?
Exactly.
So we heard Hannah's side, but we got to be fair here. How has Minister Grange responded to all of this?
So her initial response has been a complete denial. She's calling it a politically motivated attack, just trying to stir up trouble.
Okay, so she's saying there's nothing to see here, move along.
Exactly. She's saying the increased budget, it just reflects how important these cultural celebrations are, and that anytime they used external contractors, it was all by the book, followed all the rules.
Right.
Yeah.
And, it's important to hear her side of it, too, but that kind of brings us to the crux of the matter, doesn't it? Because even with that defense, this whole controversy has really sparked a bigger conversation in Jamaica about transparency and accountability in government.
Absolutely. And especially, we have to remember the context here. This isn't just some random government program.
We're talking about Emancipation and Heritage Week,
Okay.
a celebration of Jamaica's history, its identity.
Exactly. And when you have these questions swirling around how the money is being handled, well, it kind of casts a shadow over the whole thing.
Sure. And let's be real, this isn't the first time there have been whispers about these kinds of things in Jamaican politics, right?
Unfortunately, you're right. This isn't a news story. Jamaica has a history, a history that's had its fair share of concerns about corruption, about nepotism, about whether those in power are really playing by the same rules as everyone else.
It's so easy to get caught up in all the numbers.
Right.
Like millions of dollars flying around, contracts, budgets. But you just reminded me of something really important, the timing of all of this.
Right.
This isn't just some random government program under scrutiny here.
Not at all.
We're talking about Emancipation and Heritage Week. This is about celebrating the end of slavery in Jamaica.
Exactly. Showcasing their culture, their history. Huge deal.
So it's not just about the money. It's about what that money represents.
It's about national pride, identity, it's deeply personal.
Totally.
Yeah.
It'd be like finding out there was, I don't know, some kind of financial mismanagement going on within your own family.
Right.
During a holiday celebration.
Yeah.
It's not just about the money itself. It's that breach of trust.
Absolutely. And it makes you question people's motives.
Right.
Hmm.
Like why?
So with all that in mind, let's talk about the players involved here. We've got Lisa Hanna, obviously the one who brought these accusations to light.
Right. So Lisa Hanna, she's a fascinating figure in Jamaican politics. I mean, this is a woman who was Miss World.
Wait, seriously, Miss World turned politician. Talk about range.
Right. So she's not your average politician, that's for sure.
Okay, so she's got the whole, public image thing down. But what else?
Well, she's known for being incredibly articulate. She knows how to use the media. And when she makes an accusation, people listen. She commands attention, that's for sure. And on the other side, you've got Olivia Babsy Grange, the current Minister of Culture.
Right, so Grange, she's a longtime figure in the Jamaica Labor Party. She's been a fixture in Jamaican politics for a long time. And she's really known for promoting Jamaican culture on a global scale.
So it's not like we're talking about a rookie going up against a seasoned pro, right?
Not at all. This is a clash of titans,
Yeah.
Two powerful women, both with their own legacies and supporters.
Which honestly makes this whole thing even more complex.
Absolutely.
And then we have the Jamaica Cultural Development Commission, the JCDC, kind of stuck in the middle of it all.
Right. The JCDC, they're like the heart and soul of Jamaican culture. They've been around since the 60s. They organize all sorts of festivals, competitions, workshops. They're a really big deal.
So if they are being sidelined, in favor of these private contractors, as Hannah is suggesting, that's a pretty big deal.
Huge. I mean, you're basically saying, we don't need the JCDC, the very organization that embodies Jamaican culture, to be involved in celebrating it.
It just seems off, doesn't it?
It does, and it makes you wonder about the decision-making process. Is it really about what's best for promoting Jamaican culture? Or is something else going on?
Which brings us back to those concerns about nepotism, about corruption.
Right, and like we said, this isn't the first time Jamaica is grappling with these kinds of issues.
Or badly.
Unfortunately not, and whether these specific accusations against Minister Grange are proven true or not, they've definitely struck a nerve. They've tapped into this deep well of public distrust.
It's almost as if, like this controversy, it's like it's unearthed all of these deeper anxieties and frustrations.
Yeah, it's like this whole thing has kind of snowballed, hasn't it?
Oh,
It's
yeah.
gone way beyond just the immediate accusations, Whether or not Minister Grange is ultimately cleared of any wrongdoing, the damage has been done, right?
It's like that saying, sunlight is the best disinfectant.
Exactly, exactly. Bringing everything out into the open, even if it's ugly, that's how you start to rebuild trust.
Because if people don't believe in their leaders, if they think the whole system is rigged against them, well, that's a recipe for disaster.
100%. That's how you erode the very foundation of a democracy. People need to feel heard. They need to trust that their leaders are accountable to them,
Right. And that those leaders are working for them, not the other way around. So what are we hearing from everyday Jamaicans? How are they reacting to all of this?
Well, from the reports you've shared, it sounds like there's a lot of anger, a lot of frustration, rightfully so. This isn't just about demanding answers. It's about, something deeper.
Like a sense of betrayal almost.
Yeah, because they feel like their cultural heritage, their history, it's being exploited, that it's all just a game to those in power.
It's don't mess with our culture,
Exactly.
So where do we go from here? What are the potential consequences, if any, for those involved?
It's hard to say for sure. Will there be a full-blown investigation? Will anyone be held accountable? Or will this just fade away like so many other scandals?
It's happened before, unfortunately.
It has, and that's the really concerning thing. But even if there aren't any immediate political or legal repercussions, this whole episode, it's really highlighted the need for greater transparency, for accountability, wouldn't you say?
Oh, absolutely. You got to shine a light on these things. So, wow, this deep dive, it really opened my eyes to how fragile this whole thing is,
It's true, and it makes you realize that this issue, this intersection of culture, politics, public trust, it's not just a Jamaican thing.
It's everywhere.
Everywhere, and it's something we need to be talking about more.
Couldn't agree more. This was fascinating. Really appreciate your insights.
My pleasure.
And for everyone listening, thanks for diving deep with us. Keep asking those tough questions, and we'll catch you next time.